We get a lot of questions around where is the hedge fund industry going? Is there value in hedge funds? Should people still be investing in hedge funds? I think you need to take a step back and look at what is the reason to invest in hedge funds. And I think this is very important to understand that hedge funds are not equities and they're not bonds. They are different ways of taking risk. I've never been a huge fan of the name hedge fund. I don't think there's very much hedging going on in any of the funds. I think they're just taking different types of risks and trying to generate returns off of it. If you were simply looking at, I want S&P returns, one should buy the S&P. If you simply want bond returns, you should buy bonds. The whole reason for buying hedge funds is to end up with a return stream that's different from those return streams. Now, I think part of the negative narrative that hedge funds have had more recently is equities have gone straight up. Bonds up until recently had continued their 30-year bull run, and everyone was questioning, why am I hedge funds? They're underperforming stocks, they're underperforming bonds. And while that's an accurate statement for that brief period of time, their return profile is different from stocks and bonds. And so we think they still make a lot of sense in a portfolio. And you've seen that begin to develop really over the last year or so. So I think there is a reason to continue to utilize them in portfolio, but you have to understand the portfolio construction process when one's going about that. We recently put out a white paper looking at the reasons to use hedge funds, how to mix them into a stock and bond portfolio, how they make that portfolio more efficient, and create a better longer term outcome. And so I think that's an important thing to note. The other thing I'd note on the industry is despite some of the negative news, and I think a difficult 2015 and 2016 for the industry, is you've still continued to see absolute levels of asset growth. And I think we're up at or slightly above peak assets for the industry. So while you've had a lot of negative commentary, you've continued to see inflows into funds. And I think so far in the first 8-9 months of 2017 and the back end of 16, you've really seen performance begin to turn, which is also not a surprise given that the bull market in equities is getting longer and longer. Equity valuations are getting stretched. So typically after a big bull run, hedge funds do tend to perform better. And so I think we're seeing those signs.
All investments are subject to risk, including the possible loss of the money you invest. For more information about SkyBridge Capital Multi-Advisor Hedge Fund Portfolio Series G, call 1-888-759-2730 to obtain a prospectus. Investment objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and other important information about a fund are contained in the prospectus. Read and consider it carefully before investing. This webcast is for educational purposes only. We recommend that you consult a professional advisor about your individual situation.